Look, I want to be a better crypto investor. I don't want to lose my money all the time. I don't want to, buy at the high and sell at the low and buy overpriced deals and all this kind of stuff. It happens to me. I know it happens to you. And so we're just out here trying to make the best investments, trying to get better at investing in crypto, even though it's so volatile. But the number one way I think to learn is to look at people already doing that. And in this video, we're going to be doing a deep dive into off-the-chain capital. It is the number one performing crypto hedge fund that is outperforming Bitcoin in 5 out of the last 5 years. We're going to be taking a look at their strategies. We got a hold of some private documentation that pops the hood and takes us under the hood and lets us see how the heck they're doing this. What's their strategies? How do they look at different projects and all that kind of stuff? And so we'll be looking at their strategies right here. Off-the-chain capital, like I said, number one, uncovering value in blockchain companies and digital assets using a traditional Graham-Dodd, Warren Buffett style. Okay, if you don't know what this means this is a value investing style. So they look at things such as like the debt, the how undervalued is this company, the fundamentals of this company, the team, like they're looking at that kind of stuff. They don't really care about supply and demand. They don't really care about that kind of stuff. They want to see the fundamentally, is a project, is a company very good, contributing a lot of value to the market, and is it underpriced? It's the number one performing blockchain fund over the last 5 years. Outperformed Bitcoin in the last 5 out of the 5 years with 80% less downside volatility. If you want to see some of their portfolio, Mt. Gox, Polychain Capital. Mt. Gox, we'll go into that a little bit, but that's a crypto exchange that got hacked. Kraken, BitPay, the number one payment processor, and they've done a lot of media, right? CNBC, Pop, Real Vision, and so who is leading this thing? And it's this guy. His name is Brian Estes, and he's the CEO of this thing. And so he's here talking about, in this video by CNBC, talking to what their style of investing is. And here we go.
So we're a value manager. So we use a traditional Benjamin Graham, Warren Buffett value style, and we're applying that to blockchain assets like Bitcoin and private equity and blockchain companies. So for example, we're one of the largest buyers in the world of Mt. Gox bankruptcy claims. So that enables us to buy Bitcoin at about an 80% discount to what buying Bitcoin at the spot market.
80% discount.
You'll see Digital Currency Group, which owns the Grayscale funds. We own a good portion of that. That's about 10% of our portfolio. We own BitPay, which is the largest payment processor in the blockchain space. It's also the oldest surviving blockchain company. It's been around for 10 years. We own Osprey Funds, which is a fund company similar to Grayscale.
Okay, so they own like different funds. They own BitPay. They own an exchange that went into bankruptcy, and so that allowed them to buy Bitcoin, which was very interesting. So really quick, let's take a look at what a value investing strategy is. Okay, rather than focus on supply and demand intricacies of the stock market, Buffett looks at companies as a whole. Some factors that they consider are performance, company debt, profit margins. Value investors like Buffett include whether companies are public, how reliant are they on commodities, and how cheap they are. Okay, so commodities not really a big deal in crypto, but how cheap they are is important. Now, just so you know, this is what Bitcoin has performed in the last 4 years. 2018, negative 72%, 19, 87%, 2020, 300%, and 2021, 57%. So these are the things that they should be trying to beat. And now I've got my hands on a particular document that I had to like scrounge around the Wild West for. And this is what I was really excited to bring to you today. And this is basically the blueprint for off-the-chain capital. Again, the number one performing crypto fund here. And so it's a value-oriented investment manager that invests in digital assets, industry. So OTC, off-the-chain leverages industry relationships. That's a key word there, to acquire shares in late-stage private blockchain companies at early-stage valuations. Okay, what that means is they are acquiring coins or shares of companies that have gotten into maturity at the same prices that it went out in the market for. It's crazy how they do. I don't know how they do this. They saying it's the relationship industry relationships. Okay. And so they're using that. They're taking off the risk, right? Because if you're investing at its early stage, you're taking a lot of risk. You don't know which ones will make it and which ones won't. But if you know after the fact that they do make it, and then you could buy in at their earliest prices, why wouldn't you? Okay, and how they do that? Industry relationships. Okay, and so some examples of that was the blockchain company equity into BitPay. Okay, 7% ownership into BitPay, and then Mt. Gox again. That one where he said he was buying Bitcoin at a very big discount. An early crypto exchange was hacked and drained of its custodied crypto assets. Is currently subject to bankruptcy proceedings. Off the chain leveraged its industry knowledge to acquire said bankruptcy claims via the fund and procure Bitcoin at an estimated 46% discount to market prices. He said 80%. And so that was really interesting. And what they do is they get access to what the Mt. Gox was available to purchase Bitcoin at. And so they just use that, which is interesting. So we're going to skip to slide 5 here. And slide 5 right here talks about the demand here, the institutional demand. 71% of institutional investors plan to buy and invest in digital assets in the future. Look at this. For exclusive insights clients only. Okay. Hold on, that's just, that's why we're out here. More than 90% of institutions interested in digital assets expect to have allocations by 2026, meaning this year is 2022. Okay, so these institutions haven't fully come in here yet. Okay, meaning we are super early. Okay, just if you're investing in Bitcoin or any other crypto assets. We're gonna skip to the 10th one here, the 10th slide here. And I thought this was really interesting. This is how they invest. They take mispriced digital assets, okay, and then which is like that Mt. Gox and stuff like that, and early growth stage private blockchain companies. Okay, so now what that's how they're investing here. And so what you and I can be looking at is we have to look at these early growth stage companies, but we have to hedge off some of that risk. And how do they do it? Well, they said they're doing it by relationships. Now, I don't personally know. If I knew their secret sauce, then I'd be opening up my, off the chisel chain capital, off the cowboy chain. I don't know. The 40 to 7% average discount on investments. What they're doing is they're getting discounts on investments. Okay, so we're gonna go to slide 10 here. Okay, I thought this was very interesting. Okay, OTC invests in private companies after Series A. Okay, so this is right here. Okay, you can't see my mouse. I can't do it. While paying seed round, this is like this fifth slide right here. This fifth column here. While paying seed round valuation prices for these assets, thus reducing the failure risk. So they're buying maturity companies with idea level price points. Okay, that's how they're doing it. It's crazy. And so let's scroll down here to this 11th slide right here. Yeah, so this was very interesting here because the ownership of BitPay was very crucial to how they're making their money. It's the largest payment processor in crypto. If we scroll down to number 13 right here, we see their portfolio, right? They got BitPay, Mt. Gox, Digital Currency Group, Grayscale, Bitwise. These are private trusts that they have. This is their portfolio. 14, 15, and 17 are more just proof, okay? This is in the black right here. The black bars, that's them, the fund, right? OTC. Bitcoin is in orange and the S&P 500 is in yellow, and you could see just how far and away OTC has outperformed them. And then here and off the chain, this is again on Bitcoin or S&P 500 and Bitcoin, how off the chain has historically outproduced. And then in here, I thought this was really an interesting one. This is the different strategies compared to. So they have quantitative long and short, discretionary long, short, discretionary long, multi-strategy, and just Bitcoin. And the off-the-chain value strategy is where they get proper, mature businesses at a early stage discount, basically. It's kind of crazy. 21 is the next slide we're going to right here. And this is where Bitcoin has outperformed every other asset in the last 12 years, consecutive years, except for 2 years, 2014 and 2018, where Bitcoin returned negative 60% and negative 72% in those years. But in every single other year, it has outperformed by far and away. When it took Coinbase on, it went up by like 6,000%, 58,000% or whatever, or 5,800% rather. And then in this slide right here, this one was like really interesting. This was the last one. OTC's off-the-chain Bitcoin thesis. 9 out of 10 U.S. households are projected to own Bitcoin by 2029. Okay, Bitcoin is here. Let's say this was in 2019, but we could assumably be like 2020, 2022 is like right here. 2029 is what, six years away from here, and that's when 90% of these hedge funds, of these institutional funds, these sovereign wealth funds will be going into Bitcoin, and then it will be too late. Okay, so I think that was really sobering. Well, good news and bad news, right? And here's what we could make of this. To me, there are only a few different options that you and I can take as just like lizard brain cowboys out here. We don't have a hedge fund. We don't have any of this kind of stuff. What can we do? Okay. This was my kind of like question. What do I do with the money? How do I invest in stuff? Am I just guessing, just looking at the market, YouTubing and stuff like that? Well, this is my personal strategy. If it's right, if it's wrong, it's just what it is. You can either just buy Bitcoin. Just buying Bitcoin proves to be pretty good. Okay, I mean historically. Now, the reason why I think they don't buy into these smaller funds or these smaller coins is that the risk is so high for them to bail out. I've done AMAs on my channel, and just the other day I'm getting people to ask me to like take down that video because we disbanded or something came up or whatever. Like I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm glad I didn't invest in that one, but I did the AMA thinking that hey, they might have a shot because they're willing to dox themselves or they're willing to talk about it and go under scrutiny here. So just buy Bitcoin. It seems like that's the number one strategy here, or at least the easiest strategy. You won't outperform it. You're just gonna get, but Bitcoin outperforms most other commodities or sectors or whatever by in 10 out of the last 12 years, and everyone's coming into it based on this chart right here. Look at this. Let's say Bitcoin is right in the middle right here, right? Right, you can't see right here. I can't bring up my marker here. Okay, that's the first one. The second one is buy into off-the-chain capital. Put your money into off-the-chain capital. If they're outperforming Bitcoin in 5 out of the last 5 years, they'll probably outperform in the 6th or 7th year. That probably makes sense. That's not crypto, but it seems like they know what they're doing. They'll probably take their marginal fee of 2%, but a 2% fee when you're outperforming Bitcoin by like twice sometimes or whatever, 2x, seems right to me. Or 3, this is my other option, is to try to get in these early stage startups. This is the cowboy stuff right here. This is the degen stuff. I like it. You already know I love Bitcoin, so I've got a lot of my money staked in Bitcoin. But I gotta get into these. I'm just so drawn to what blockchain can do with these private firms, and they're getting into it, right? What they're doing is they're getting into these early stage startup fees, but in a later stage when they've already matured and grown and established their, all this kind of, they removed all that risk, but they're still buying into the earlier prices. I don't know how that's happening. I wish I did. I wish I could tell you. I could sit here and just say and tell you. But the key thing that I took away from there was the relationships. So in the last few, months, I was able to, have and build and foster some really awesome relationships. One through Crypto Zen is a like a little Discord group. One's my private group, the High Rollers Club. And I've got a few other relationships here that they are talking to different projects and they ask me for investment and all that kind of stuff. So to me, getting into the crypto industry, I think you need to start fostering some relationships in whatever way that's possible. You need to start giving more back to different people in the, who you meet in Telegram or who you meet in Discord or whatever. You just got to start fostering relationships and networking within the crypto industry, either Twitter. So I think those are the 3 big things, right? You got Twitter, you got Telegram, you got Discord, maybe TikTok, maybe, right? Maybe. But I would stick to Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. So I think that's like the number one thing to do. For me, I'm buying Bitcoin and I'm fostering relationships. I'm not really going to buy into off-the-chain capital. I think there's a minimum to buy into that. I don't meet that minimum. Okay, I think it's like a minimum $1 million or something, some nonsense. So I don't meet that minimum. But for me, it makes sense that if I'm riding out here in the Wild West and I'm riding into these different coins and projects, which I love like, I just love getting into them. Is it the smartest thing to do? Is it the smartest thing and safest thing to do is just to buy Bitcoin? Yeah. All right. Yes, probably. Which is why I have a huge allocation of my portfolio into Bitcoin. But to me, I'm just taking a page out of off-the-chain capital, foster these relationships, and see if I could get into these projects with some kind of discount, with some kind of edge. I don't want to buy it on the open market. I need to get an edge leveraging relationships that I've fostered, that I've poured into, that I've given more than I've taken, and then getting into these good projects. And I got to tell you, like, Crypto Zen has been wonderful. Like, these guys have been wonderful in getting me into some early stage, really good, solid projects. Like, for instance, Victoria VR, right? I mean, like, it's just amazing what they did for. So I'm very grateful. If you guys want to check out Crypto Zen, I'm very closely partnered and affiliated with them. Just check them out. The links are in the description down below. The High Rollers Club. These guys are always talking to different people. Especially quick shout out to Half Court. Like, I mean, like, I can't see him in the chat, but he's always doing research. And I've got other guys like separately that aren't part of either of those, but they're just kind of, me and them keep a good relationship. Like, I got a good relationship with Luna PR, and I got a good relationship with a guy named Jan, a marketer. So these guys are like these different relationships I'm fostering. So how are you supposed to foster a relationship? Well, you need to start talking to people. You need to start being in the Discords. You need to start being in the chats. You need to start talking not only to the Discord, like people in the Discord, but the Discord owners, right? Get to know these guys. Find out how you could add value to them, and then they'll eventually add value to you. I think that's just the way networking works. I'm taking this, I hope you learned something, or at least found this interesting on how off-the-chain capital, the world's #1 crypto fund, is outperforming everything. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.